Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Diane, Christine. Welcome, Wolfa, Thomas, Dixon, Amanda. Nice to see you all. It's been a long time since I saw all of you. All right, so today you'll be speaking to students. I know you've been learning online for all of you. Could you maybe just walk us through your experience? But before that, I would like you to introduce yourselves. I'll start with Dan. Just introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Diane and I study at Newcastle University. I'm doing my MSc in Urban Planning.
Very good. Wafa?
Hi everyone, my name's Wafa and I'm currently at the University of Bath doing a Master's in Clinical Psychology. My undergraduate in Human and Social Sciences at Cardiff University.
Okay, very good. And Diane, where did you go for your undergraduate?
Same uni, and I did my undergrad in architecture.
Very good. Christine, introduce yourself, please.
Hiya, I'm Christine. I'm a graduate entry medical student at Cardiff University, and I did my undergrad in medical pharmacology in 2018.
Very good. I'm so glad many of you are doing your masters. Amanda, introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Amanda. I study at Smith College and I'm currently doing a major in economics and a minor in computer science.
Very good. Good to see you again, Amanda. Dixon?
Hi everyone, I'm Dixon. I'm doing my undergraduate in law at Strathmore University here in Kenya.
Very good. Good to see you, Dixon. All right. Thomas?
Hi everyone, my name is Thomas. I'm doing my undergraduate at DePaul University, and my major is political science, economics, and women and gender studies. DePaul University is in Chicago.
Okay, yeah. How is Chicago?
Good, it's getting warmer.
It's getting warmer? So you're out there right now?
I'm out here, I'm in the epicenter.
Okay, very good. Good to see you again. So I'm going to go right through the questions first.
It was rather difficult because I left my exams unfinished and then I had to stay at home, get into the online learning thing.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't as smooth a transition as I would like it to be because I like being out there more, but eventually you kind of get into the flow of it. It becomes easier when you kind of find a pattern that you can use. To go through your day. You find things to do here to keep you busy also while you're at home, because it's easy to get bored or just lose touch with things.
Yes,
so finding things here and there that I can do that keep me busy, whether it's going for a jog if I can, or just doing something other than school itself, and so that it can also help me balance myself the same way I would if I was going to school out there.
Okay, that's very important because you need a balance between your online learning and also being able to get in touch with yourself.
So mine was quite similar in the sense that I was supposed to be on medical placement in a hospital. They didn't know whether they're going to keep us on to help with Corona or pay us to work in essentially a higher band. So what's happened is they pulled us all out of placement and then put that block online. Now it's very difficult to learn about A&E online or accident and emergency online or different diseases. So that's been a complete flip on what we've been doing all year, which is just being in hospital. Having changed to online, I found that the biggest factor that's different is motivation. Because when you have to show up at 8 a.m. to a clinic, you're more likely to go because you're accounted for.
That's
if you're at home, you can wake up at whatever time. And it's about self-management, like Dixon said, like finding other things, but also managing your time.
Yeah, so my transition was also a bit difficult. I was doing an internship and I was doing work and finals once the whole COVID situation. Figured out where I was going to stay as well. But luckily, my school has been pretty on top of things. don't have to go to work thing. I think like everyone, it's it's sticking to a time while you're at home. It's pretty difficult to do that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Wafa, I see your hand up. Thank you, Thomas.
So I think my transition was pretty similar to like everyone who's spoken now. Like motivation was my biggest thing. So in the beginning I really struggled because it's like, oh, I have like all this freedom, no going to lectures, like so I think I found what really helped was having like a to-do list in the morning, because before that it was just like I was like, okay, today I'm gonna work on coursework, like without an actual plan. So I think it helped a lot when I started actually writing down what I wanted to do during the day. But my course is like just coursework based, so in that sense it was okay, because it was like I knew exactly what I needed to do. It's just that I had to do it from home. So it wasn't like with the exams where we had to have like different arrangements. It was pretty much the same thing, but just doing it from home.
Oh, okay. So really, I can hear from all of you, most of the things is time management, really. Just managing yourself at home, trying to wake up on time. And for Wafa, she's talking about planning, having a plan before she starts her day. How about Amanda?
Yes, so mine was similar to Thomas's. I had to leave within a week once the campus gave us notice about it. But I think for me, what helped with the time management was because a lot of my classes were in the afternoon since I came home, I would watch the recordings the next morning and just go through the notes at my own time, because I found that that's better for me, seeing as I'm a morning person rather than an evening or afternoon person.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Oh, so your professors actually recorded the programs for you the lessons for you to be able to watch them at home?
We had a mix of both. So the first thing they did a survey just to see what people would prefer. So we had a mix of both. Sometimes they'd be like online debates and seminars and things like that, but sometimes it would be pre-recorded, and you could just go for both. So it worked out in that sense.
Okay. So you had both of them. Christine, I saw your hand up.
They do like weekly seminars, which are like, they say they're optional, but you have to go, and they talk about common conditions, and then it's good to go. They've also done like virtual cases, so like they've got cases from YouTube, and so you watch the case and then you sort of do your own work. So I guess it's a bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's a bit of both, a mix of both. So sometimes you're required to be online, and then sometimes you're required to just do the work yourself and watch the videos when you can. Just moving on to the next thing. When do you think you're resuming back?
For us, it's been a bit different, just the nature of planning as a course. The government's eased restrictions on kind of walking around, so for us, we can still do site visits in pairs. So I think something like medicine, which Christine has mentioned, it's a bit difficult to have many people in the lab. But we have heard of social distancing in kind of university spaces. They're trying to figure that out, and it's actually nice as planning students to get involved in that process of how to plan for these things. So it's
all right, very good. Anyone else? Have you been communicated to about when you're most likely to go back, or it's still uncertain?
My university, they've not really said much yet. I think they're waiting to see like how things pan out in the next few like weeks or so. So it's a bit like uncertain.
Actually, they sent an email at the end of last week, and it's still uncertain. For now, we've just been told that we'll continue with the online classes. With the government, I think there's still restrictions going on. They keep updating us, but for now it's still rather uncertain. So we'll just be going on with the online.
You'll be going on. You might be going on with the online until everything is sorted out. Some schools, some unis have already declared that it's gonna be no classes 2020, 2021 until they restructure everything, building some sort of social distancing infrastructure.
As a person, I'm like a really social person, and I like really love like building relationships with people and being around people. So obviously that was like one of the biggest like things that was taken away from me, like having to do the online classes. However, with the online classes, the pros are like, so like in Bath, it's not like as big as like London or something. So if you need to like get transport to uni, you have to be like at the bus stop at specific times. And so if you miss it, you're like really late to your lecture or something. And like you don't have those kind of issues with online classes. Like you could be like 10 minutes before your class, just wake up, put your laptop on, and like tune into
and tell the teacher, tell the professor it was my internet connection. I know that is ongoing.
So you guys know the tricks already.
All right, and you have to be on time for your bus, and students need to know this. There's no Kenyan time there, so it's good to start practicing keeping time at this very, very early moment like this, okay? Anyone on campus experience that you miss? How was it moving from high school onto on campus? Amanda, how was it? You're the youngest one in the group that has just transitioned the other day.
Okay, so I guess my transition was a bit different because I was firstly in shock. It's not exactly what everyone says it is.
Oh,
I missed home a lot more than I thought. But I think what helped me was keeping in touch with my family.
Okay.
Even though I'm quite introverted, so I didn't really go into social events as much in my first semester, and I was planning to do that this semester. That's just ended. So that was kind of disrupted. But I think I prefer on-campus learning than home learning, because at home, your mom is calling you to send you, your siblings just want to disturb you. So it's better, definitely much better to be on campus than learning online.
Okay. And how quickly did you get into a social network, relationships with your peers and all that? Was that easy? Was that very difficult?
I think the international students orientation helped because I met a lot of African students, and through that, I was able to kind of find my way socially around the school. Also, I had a roommate who, at first, it was a bit weird, but eventually I got to get comfortable around her, and we'd talk sometimes. And she would also invite me for some events that she'd go for. So that helped my transition socially.
Oh.
I grew up here, so I didn't actually I've not sort of transitioned this sort of just now. But having said that, I think it was still a shock for me because I am such a homebod. I like my mom's food. I like home. I didn't realize how, I'm not saying expensive life is, but you really do grow up, I think, when you go away from home. The reason for that is just because you have to think about fuel costs, housing, food, all these different things that you don't think about. I loved it. I absolutely loved it, because once you've got over that first week of where's the shop, where's everything, it's just, you feel like a grown-up. You feel like, okay, I can actually survive. I loved it. Socially, you just have to throw yourself into just any social groups you can and just see who you meet. Having said that, because if you are studying from home and online, one thing I'd say is Facebook groups. I don't know if any of you used it, but when I first started uni, the course that you're on might have a Facebook group or something like that, and people ask, oh, so is anyone studying this course? Then you can jump on the group chat and talk to people. That's one way I'd say you can try.
Oh, that is good. So would you advise students who have maybe applied to unis, those kind of unis right now, to actually maybe get in touch with people before they actually join it?
Definitely. I'd say try. Even if you find one or two people, it just takes that anxiousness away. And you don't know, I didn't know anyone at my uni at all. So it's nice if you go with a friend, but I didn't know anyone. So if you can find someone online, or just even someone in the same boat as you, whether it doesn't have to be the same course, just the same uni, they can say, oh, just to talk to. I don't know, I find that a bit easier to navigate.
All right, very good. And also, I really like the way you say that it actually gave you some form of independence. Actually, I can do it away from my parents, away from home. I can handle my own finances. So that's really something that a lot of students are going to get into. Thomas, I'm interested. How was transition from Brookhouse to the US? How was that?
It was tough. It was tough, miss. But just like Christine, I think I like what she said about just trying to put yourself out there, making connections. Because for me, I actually didn't. One thing I realized is a lot of people had already come to visit the university, and you know they already knew that much about it, and I didn't have the luxury of
to actually visit.
to visit. But luckily, my school had this mandatory thing. You had to. It's actually a class called Explore Chicago.
Okay.
And they put you in groups together, and you typically just have to get. I guess they'll try and give you an immersion course for your first semester, and you have to, I guess, dig down with people. But yeah.
I think, like everyone said, you get quite a culture shock the first time. But I think when I was in Kenya, I had called up the universities that I was interested in. Of course, because quality of education, but I also just knowing I was going somewhere new, I wanted to feel comfortable. I wanted to make sure they were really concerned about their students. So it's a very friendly city. So when I came, it was quite easy to just get to feel like a community, really. And everyone helps you. If it's raining and you're standing there on the streets, people come with an umbrella. So that was shocking, but a good kind of shock.
So people are really kind to each other, really. So because I think all of you are all getting to a new place, so people are trying to find each other, make friends. So the first few weeks are really important for you to be able to connect with other people, isn't it? All right. So what do you do? What are the kind of activities that you engage in now that you're in your campuses? What do you do apart from your studies on campus? Are there interesting things that you do, Wafa?
I think first, if you go to uni in the UK, there's always, I think most unis have like an Afro-Caribbean society. Yeah, so if you join one of those, there's like different activities, and obviously it's a way to meet new people and also like other African students. Yeah, so there's all that, and there's like different societies, so like based on your interests and like maybe things you did in high school, like being part of sports teams or like being part of a band, or yeah, you can always find like there's always a society that does something you're interested in.
So there are very many opportunities out there, isn't it? All right. Anyone else is engaging in activity, Dixon? What are you doing apart from your learning in Strathmore?
So yeah, other than the good thing about, for me, I think, is I stayed in Kenya, so I could do a lot of things even outside of school itself. So outside of school, you know, a few things going on, whether it's sports here and there. In school, I chose a rather nerdy route because everything I do is related to law. So I do the law clinic, which is you know, just students giving advice to people who need legal advice and may not be able to afford it. So yeah, just things like those, debate club. There's also the law review, which is about writing pieces here and there. So yeah, I chose that route instead. So yeah, that's how I did it.
So for you, it's more intellectual and engaging with things that have to do with law.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Beautiful.
Good. Mainly in school. Outside of school, then I can do other things.
Okay. Very good. And I just want to pose a question to all of you. So all these things I hear about students getting lost after they leave high school, they leave home, and there's too much alcoholism, issues to do with drugs, and a lot of things. Just talk to me about that. Talk to the students about this, because I would like to know what really goes on. Is this true, or is just a myth? Christine?
I think it's not really a myth. I think I'd be lying if I said that, you know, nobody drinks and nobody touches drugs and everyone goes to uni every day. And no, but what I think it goes back to the friends that you make. It goes back to the groups that you're in. So if you end up in halls or a residence, or if you stay home, and the people that you meet, it's all by chance. Like, you can't, I mean, I didn't get to choose who was in the flat next to me, or I didn't know anybody, so I literally showed up. And so it depends honestly on who you find. then say you find a group that's, you know, actually there to study and then still goes out, you still need a mixture of the two, as in you need the social, you need to go out, you need to socialize, it doesn't mean you have to go out and get absolutely, you know, you don't know where you are. You don't have to get that, but you still need a group to go, like, you know, do stuff with. Having said that, it takes a lot of self-control, I think, because you haven't got anyone, like I said, to tell you where to spend your finances, your time, or anything like that. So you've got to really be careful, because you can find a group and they motivate you and they go out with you and you get a balance. You can find other people who they've not really had that freedom before, and they will literally, you have to have self-control. That's what I think.
So they get out of control. I've never had this before. I've never been out on my own, so I'm gonna do it 100% of the time. So are there cases where people have not even been able to complete school, or maybe been kicked out, that you've heard of because they haven't had this self-control?
I don't know anyone who's been sort of formally kicked out because they've like personally like found something, you know, in their room or something. But I do know people who they use those substances when it gets tough. So they sort of drink alcohol as whatever every day. They do drugs, and it gets to the point where your mental health then deteriorates and you can't sit the exam. It's kind of that side of things is what's made people not finish. But majority of people that I've met, honestly, they go out, they have a good time, and they still graduate, you know. So
there's a good balance for them. Okay.
Yeah, it's the balance.
Good. Dixon, then Wafa?
So I would definitely say the same thing that Christina said. It's definitely about self-control and finding balance, because you'll definitely see these things in terms of people who would take it too far.
Yeah.
So in terms of the question you've even posed, I've definitely seen some people who've been expelled from uni because of drugs and things of the like. You'll definitely see it. It's there. As she said, it's not a myth, but it's just, it's more, it becomes, at that point, it becomes a personal thing and what you want for yourself. So it's about you having the self-control to say no to certain things and yes to others. It's not always a no, definitely. You just need to know what you say yes to. And then you can find, you know, the perfect balance.
Okay, so it's there. You just need to make sure that you find the perfect balance. Make sure that you're controlled. Don't overdo one thing over the other. It has to be some bit of balance. Wafa?
So I completely agree with striking a balance. So obviously you need to know like why you're there, but at the same time you also need to, like, it's fine to have a life outside of that, but it's also, you need to know your limits. And I think it's really important to like reflect on the person you are, like the values you have, and like you shouldn't change those based on the people around you. Like when you make decisions, make them because you, like, that's what you genuinely want, not because it's what you're seeing people around you doing.
Okay, thank you. Thomas, do you want to add anything onto that before I go on to the next question?
Yeah, I just you know, I think everyone seemed eager to answer that one, miss.
Yes.
Yeah, just like everything that everyone has said, I think you have to strike a balance, but I like what Wafa said. You have to keep in the forefront knowing what brought you here in the first place, I guess. Because, you know, for me, for example, kuna zingine hujawai not you've never seen, you've only had. So I think it's you know, it's about speaking to people and understanding situations that sometimes people present. I guess these things present themselves in. I actually have a friend who he's taken time off school actually, because he, you know, he had a little drug problem. But you know, at the end of the day, he's still a smart guy, very sharp. He was actually through quite a lot, and a lot of people didn't know until he, I guess, spoke up. So I think, you know, trying to take advantage of, if your school is lucky enough to have even university services as a counselor, or trying to speak with your friends, I think, All
right. So the good thing about the universities is they have all these mental health services that you can be able to go for and actually be able to see someone, and in case you're struggling with something. We've been talking about all the good things on campus, and what's the ugly? Just tell me, what should students be ready for? Just some of the things that are gonna be very difficult for them, that they are gonna be, whoa, you mean the world operates like this? Just talk to them about this. Diane?
Some of the things people have mentioned, drugs and alcohol, was not something I really exposed myself into, and it took trying to understand the other person's point of view and why they were engaging with things like this and what was happening, because you know, drugs don't just come from out of the blue. So that was hard for me with the people I was sharing a space with. We had 7 people, but you imagine you come to the kitchen one day from class and there's 50 people, and so that was a bit difficult. But then it helped me to learn to deal with confrontation in a considerate way.
All right, very good. Thank you, Dan. That's a very sober-minded answer. Christine?
Living space is one thing that I would definitely highlight. Like we just said, when you sort of, if you're at home, you kind of know you have your own space. I found that when I moved to uni, because you're sharing a flat with people that you don't know, some people know how to clean, some people don't know how to clean, and you just have to kind of find a balance. And you know, if the bins have not been emptied in 2 weeks, just just hint and be like, guys, you know, after tomorrow night, you know, should we all go to, you know, you just be nice, but you gotta hint. It gets disgusting. Some flats are like, you know, horrible, and that's me being honest. So be prepared to not have that kind of sparkling clean. Like, don't, if you go in expecting it to be bad, then it's good, then great, but don't go in with that kind of like clean mom's house kind of look.
That means that you need to take care of yourself. Nobody will be like high school and boarding telling you clean here, clean that, make your bed, isn't it?
No, you just, like, it goes back again to self-management, and you just have to, I mean, if you can keep your room clean, then that's one step, and people will remember you. Like, I know when you live with people, you know, right, this person's clean, even without like.
So for me, my experience, I stayed on campus because, well, what you find is typically people will stay on campus for their first year, I guess, to get acclimated and to make connections with people. I'd recommend, you know, maybe in your 3rd or 2nd year, I look for a place with some people and
your own friends, right?
With your own. You know, it makes you. I think it elevates a little bit the level in which you have to be really responsible for not only yourself but others.
Okay.
So for me, it's just 2 words: mental exhaustion. That's all it took. Sometimes you get the middle of the semester and you're just tired. Mentally, you're done. And you just don't know what to do from there. You don't have the motivation to keep, you know, reading, you know, do an assignment, the discipline to wake up early to do this assignment or do that. So you're just mentally exhausted. I think that's something I wasn't necessarily prepared for. So how I go about it is I just try to, you know, stay in touch with someone who can help me through it, or sometimes I need to talk my way out of it. Sometimes I need to, you know, put school aside and just do something else.
So for you, distraction works very well. Just distracting yourself with another activity and also talking to someone. So it can get overwhelming, and I saw everyone shaking their hand that it can be quite exhausting. So students out there who are thinking that college is gonna be a walk in the park, no, it's actually a lot of work. Okay, Amanda, how's your first year? Just for people going into their first year, what is the negative side, the ugly that you had to go through, and you're like, wow, should I be here or not?
Is noise, actually, because we stay in sort of in houses so that you have a community, but the walls are really thin, and like I said, I had a roommate, and at times you do go over rules at the beginning of the semester, but then it gets like 3 weeks down the line and you're trying to sleep, and that's when she's deciding to do work, so the lights can't go off. and things like that. So I guess that was the first thing that really disturbed me, because now you have to attend classes early in the morning, but you're sleeping really late because of your roommate. And I guess confrontation is not it's not something that I enjoy.
Yeah.
So I found it very hard to approach that. But eventually I just decided to move rooms to a single room because it was better.
Okay.
I guess another thing is the food. I don't really cook because of time between classes, work, and trying to socialize. It's a bit difficult.
Yeah.
But the food isn't that great.
Yeah.
So I guess that's another challenge that I faced going to the US. And I guess the ignorance that you get at times, because you find someone asking, oh, have you watched a film that was shot in Botswana, which is a village in Africa? So such things, you really wouldn't expect that, but it does happen quite a bit. And I guess those would be my two main things.
So there's so much ignorance about Africa. They think it's a town, a village somewhere where you just walk in. So you get a lot of those questions from people. All right.
Exactly.
So you've got to be ready to sort of be calm and not confront them, right?
Exactly.
All right. Thank you, Amanda. Christine.
Just remember that you are smart enough to get into that uni. You deserve a place in that uni. Like, you're just as good as anybody who is in that uni and on your course. My undergrad, I was the only Black person for 3 years. Wow. So yes, I did feel like I was carrying the weight of any race, anyone else. But you know what? You have to stand up and say, no, I am just as smart, if not, more hardworking. You've got to own your space. And sometimes you can feel a little bit not like, I had a bit of an imposter syndrome, because I was looking around thinking, oh my God, did I pick the right course? You have that feeling. Just own it and say, no, I am educated. Like, I deserve to be here, and I'm going to really enjoy this. And once people see that, and then just make yourself open as well, like open to the questions, because some people have you will be their first Black friend. Yeah. Honestly. And you just have to, just keep an open mind, but also stand up for yourself.
Okay. Did some of you face some language barriers? Because I remember when I was like Christine also, I was in a class full of white people. And one of the things was even asking questions. My professors would say, they can't hear what I'm saying. So did anyone face any language barriers before I come to Diane?
Like you have to tune your frequency or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, the language barriers are there. I think I'm not too sure what that stems from, but I think once you maybe it's just nuancing with the words, I guess. You find, be yourself. One thing I like to do is, speak clearly, speak from your your diaphragm, and from say it with your chest, and
people are gonna hear you. So I speak from my chest. Hey, you! Everyone is gonna hear me, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to my last two questions before I keep you here for too long. Now, about finances in campus, especially things to do with scholarships, things to do with campus jobs and maintaining work permits and things like that. What's your advice to students who are going in? The first year, of course, it's very difficult unless you're going in with a scholarship. But does the second year improve? Are there any financial opportunities that people get?
First year, I think you end up spending a lot on things you don't necessarily need. And I remember getting to uni, and like, I think for everyone, like the first week of the semester is when you're like, yo, this is gonna be my year, I'm gonna get all A's. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy all the books that are like listed, only to realize like they're available at the library or there's like online versions. So just doing your research on some things like that. And then in regards to like part-time jobs, like I think there's a lot of them. And for me in undergrad, I worked for my students union. So I think I would say getting like a job that's very flexible. So for me, when I had like coursework due or I had exams, like it was flexible enough for me to like take 2 weeks off work or not work for a while and just focus on uni. And then when I have more free time, I'm able to like take up more shifts and like,
And do those on-campus jobs that you had, do they ease off maybe your tuition fee a bit, or it's just your own money?
Oh, not really. That's just really like a bit of like extra money for you to have. Yeah.
All right. Very good. Thomas?
I was very fortunate to get a job where I was able, it was flexible in that I was able to put in my hours, but at the same time as I'm putting in my hours, I could be doing my homework at the same time.
Okay.
So if you can get a job where maybe you're at the front desk or something, or
in the library or something, or
and for tuition, there's some universities, if you after your first year you can apply to be an RA, an advisor, and you'll find that sometimes if you are the resident advisor, maybe your room and board is paid for you, but not necessarily anything as far as too much of a change on tuition.
Okay.
I think what I'd say is for students who are going in for their first year, don't be afraid to ask for an increase in your scholarship, especially because universities know when you're coming in, you really have nothing. You have nothing in your room, nothing for winter. So they know a lot of your money is going to go into that. And they're willing to consider to give you more money at such a time rather than during the year. But another thing is that do your research. Or campus jobs that help you reduce your tuition fees. Because I know my campus has, like Thomas said, an RA position. So such positions help you reduce your tuition amount. And also find out what the options are that the school offers in terms of financial assistance. Because I know you can appeal to the board to reduce your tuition in my college. So that's something that I've done. And they managed to actually get back to me within 2 weeks. Which is
that's good.
A short amount of time.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. Very good. So again, you just have to be proactive. Just know what is out there. Don't just go in and expect, well, let my parents do this. You also got to do this also as an individual yourself and help them out. Dixon, how about Strathmore? Are there parks like that, opportunities like that?
Yeah, we do have a financial aid office, and they're really easy to talk to. They can help you find, a solution where they can. There's sports scholarships, academic scholarships as well. So they really have tried to find a way to ease it off as well. But yeah, you just have to talk to them, as Amanda said. You just try be open, try reach out to them. I think most people are usually scared of like, oh, what if they say no? But you realize that they're more willing to listen than you would think.
What's your advice? What's your word of reassurance to students who are watching you right now?
I definitely think as students and people in general in life, we all enjoy learning new things. And the reason I assume everyone is applying for uni, of course, there's other things, but to learn primarily. And I think most of us are very privileged because we're able to afford to go to good schools and universities. And I guess we want to expand that to people who don't. So I see the reason behind a gap year, but I definitely would advise people take that opportunity if you have it, and if you still have that drive to learn, to try online university or even open university, because after this, if it ends, after it happens, you can then say, during this period of time, I was able to do this to contribute to something. So don't be afraid. There's gonna be more uncertainties for sure in future, but
there's gonna be more,
Yeah.
So Diane, would you advise a gap year, or would you advise the students get on with the admissions and start their first year online, if that needs be?
I think if the reason for the gap year is just fear of the virus, I would say I don't think it should necessarily stop you. But if there's another reason for that gap year, and you have something you plan to do within that gap year, then definitely go for it. But don't let the time pass. Definitely use it.
Okay. All right. Good. Wafa?
I think so. Obviously, it's like a really uncertain time, and I know people are probably worried because obviously this is not how you pictured going into like university. But I think just take comfort in the fact that like the whole world is going through this. Like everyone is having to do things a different way from what they used to or what they expected. So it's fine. And maybe for some people, because I think we just grow up knowing you're going to graduate, then go to uni and do this. So some people end up just picking like courses out of like that rush or like knowing that you have to go to uni. So if maybe you're one of those people, this could be a chance to maybe take a gap year and reflect on like what you really want or what course you really want to get on, and maybe like switch that next year or go with what you had picked if you find that that's what you really like want to do.
Okay, thank you so much, Wafa. Christine?
I completely second that, in just getting some comfort in the sense of everybody's is going through the same kind of pattern in terms of globally with the virus. We don't know when it's going to stop until we get a vaccine. It could be next year or the year after. So it's almost like I had to switch my mindset and think to myself, what can I do now to make this situation better for yourself in a year or two times? And you can look back and say, okay, this is what I did. In terms of university, it might be different for you, and it's also going to be different for other people. So it might not be exactly how you planned it, but if you think about it as, okay, this is a situation I have, we can't control this virus on a personal level. What can we do? What can you do to better yourself? And in terms of a gap year, I never took a gap year, but I think looking back on it and talking about people who've had gap years, if you do something really nice in that gap year, whether it's earning money or just doing something to enrich your CV, it is worth it. But if you stay at home and just I'm not talking about a virus, then definitely stay at home. But like, in general, if you don't do anything, a year is a long time. So you just got to find something to enrich yourself. That's all I can say, and it'll be okay.
All right. And Christine, do you think that if people took gap years and then we've got still another lot that is actually wanting to go to uni the next year, there's going to be too much of an overflow of that students?
I think the universities will probably have to manage that a bit, because I think if everybody took a gap year now, I don't know how the university would then be able to sustain itself for the next year. So you have that kind of, I think that would probably be up to the university if they even allow sort of that many people to take gap years and then come back. So I think it would still be based on places, and then maybe the next year after would then have to go to different universities. I'm not too sure.
So students have to communicate with the units that have admitted them, and if they hope to take a gap year, to see if they still have the opportunities. If they have,
so you can still have your place.
Okay, good. Dixon?
I like what they've all said. So I think in terms of wanting to take a gap year, the reasons why, you should really look at the reasons why. So after high school, I took some months off. The course I'm doing now isn't the course I started with. I started with a certain course, and then I didn't really like it. And I think if I took a gap year, I would have been able to figure it out. So the reasons could really really depend. However, I think at the same time, if you have the opportunities and you are sure of the course that you want to do, do it. Just adapt. It might be difficult, but just try to adapt, and slowly by slowly, at least you'll be getting somewhere. If you do take a gap year, there are other things that you can do. As Christina has said, 1 year is a long time. There are online courses, there are short online courses that you can do. Some that are, I think when we say an online course, people think it's something really long and tedious, but no, some with 55 hours and you get a certificate, and that certificate can go into your CV and help you from there. So I think it's just about exploring the options that you have. Talk to your parents, talk to your teachers, talk to the university, and just get a feel of what you think would be best for you.
Okay, thank you so much. Amanda, what's your word of advice or reassurance to students right now before they move on into uni?
I agree with what Dixon said about doing online classes and just getting developing skills that will really help you when you're applying to university in the following year if you decide to do a gap year. I also think that you should talk to the university because they do understand this is a hard time for not just entering students, but students who have been there already are also struggling with this online classes because the future is very uncertain for all of us. And so you're not the only one going through this. A lot of people are. And so that shouldn't stop you or make you feel that you won't be able to get to where you want to be. You won't be able to do what you want to do. It's just a bump in the road that you'll need to get over, and that's fine. I also think that you should pick up an instrument if you wish to, or do something that you've wanted to do for a while but never had the time to. Don't just sit at home and do nothing, because when you start to apply, universities wonder you took a whole year off but you have nothing to show of it. So yeah, just develop yourself, understand that you're not the only one going through it, and it's okay to go through this. And I mean, it will, at the end of it, you'll be better prepared to face anything, whether it's online or in class.
So for those who are going online, Amanda, you'd advise they take it on, just learn from home, they'll eventually get there, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Will be forced to be introspective when you get to university, if you're not like more than you are already. So you have to really dig deep and I guess find out what you really want as far as the courses that you want to do. But aside from courses and stuff like that, yeah, I think take time, take stock of your mental health. Speak to your parents, speak to your friends. Don't lose any passion that you have, and not to get too serious, but there's a lot of resources right now, whether it's if you have a LinkedIn or something like that, you can get LinkedIn Learning. There's things that are literally online for free right now for students, that you can sharpen your trade at something.
Very good. It's good you even talked about those social networks like LinkedIn, which is a lot of places I got a couple of you. So whether they're going on campus or learning online, it's still something that they can look forward to and make sure that they do it to actually advance themselves. Thank you so much for talking to me. We can wave to everyone. Bye, and nice talking to all of you. Bye. Thank you.